This is the third part of my Five Nights at Freddy's timeline, and this only really makes sense if you watch the first and second part, so you should watch those first. William killed 5 children in a spring bonnie suit, and then this is when I realized something. So I saw this idea from dual process theory, and I didn't think it was true. But now I have more evidence for this, and this is the only way that the timeline would make sense. Cassidy is the crying child, because Golden Freddy talked about himself as only one person, and he says it's me, not it's us. But from Fazbear Frights we know that animatronics possessed by 2 people talk about themselves as 2 people, like in Together Forever, and the evidence in the Five Nights at Freddy's 3 ending is pretty sketchy. The evidence is that Golden Freddy has 2 eyes lit up, so he has 2 souls. But that's just because of the lighting. For the other masks you can see that the other lights are lit up too, because some of the light from the right eye is going into the left eye, and you can see it best in Freddy's eye and Chica's mouth. I don't know if I explained that very good, but you know what I mean. And there's also circles around the lit up eyes on all of the masks. But there's not another circle on the other lit up eye on Golden Freddy. But there is a lot of stories in Fazbear Frights about 2 characters possessing the same person. But I don't think those were hinting at Golden Freddy being possessed by 2 people. I think they were talking about a different character. Maybe one more modern, and maybe one who was supposed to be the next main villain of Five Nights at Freddy's. But I will get to that later. After William killed the kids, he found out that they did indeed possess the robots, and that was because of the metal in the animatronics. When metal and souls go together they make something called remnant, and that made William happy. But his kids weren't so happy, because they were being tortured. Afton really didn't want his other kids to die too, so every day, Afton would stand right outside their window wearing his spring bonnie suit, and it would scare them so much that they didn't leave the house. But one day it was raining, so Afton couldn't go outside and scare them, or he would die. So Cassidy ran away to go visit his sister's grave, and that didn't make Afton very happy. So he put a walkie-talkie inside of Cassidy's Fredbear plush, and then William could watch him and talk to him.
He's here, he's there, he's everywhere. Who you gonna call? Psychic friend Fredbear.
But he also made the Funtime animatronics go up to their house every night to scare Michael and Cassidy. But the Funtimes would have illusion discs to make them look scary, and to make them look more like the characters Michael and Cassidy recognized. And Cassidy was very scared of them, to the point that Cassidy would be scared of the normal versions of the animatronics. And Michael took advantage of that. Michael ripped off the head of Cassidy's Foxy plush, and he wore it like a mask. Then he would constantly jump scare Cassidy, and one time he locked Cassidy in a storage room full of animatronics. But one day, the bullying became too much, and on Cassidy's birthday, Michael and 3 of his friends wore masks, and they put Cassidy in Fredbear's mouth. And can you guess what happens when you put a crying child in an animatronic that malfunctions when it encounters water?
Was that the bite of 87?
And it was called the bite of 83, because there's a TV that says it's 1983, and Cassidy possessed Fredbear. And now I want to explain why I think that Cassidy died after Elizabeth. In the Five Nights at Freddy's 4 8-bit parts, Fredbear says to not go near the animatronics because Cassidy saw something, and now he's terrified of the animatronics. But what would he see to make him scared and racist towards the animatronics? His own sister dying. I think he saw his sister get eaten by circus baby's stomach and it traumatized him. And that's why all of the nightmare animatronics have stomach mouths. And Cassidy did have a room at his house for his sister, but it was empty. But after Cassidy's death, Fredbear's family diner had to do a massive rebrand. Fredbear's purple bow tie and hat were now changed to black, and his name was changed to Golden Freddy, and Spring Bonnie's bow tie was just removed. We know that Spring Bonnie's bow tie was removed because every time we see him after the bite he is missing it. Spring Bonnie also probably wasn't his original name, because Golden Freddy wasn't Fredbear's original name. But we don't know Spring Bonnie's original name. Fredbear's hat and bow tie were also brown in a FNAF 3 minigame. But I don't think this means anything. It's probably just brown because the background of the minigame is black. And then the biggest change of all happened. Golden Freddy and Spring Bonnie were sidelined. And now Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica were the main characters. And Foxy was also there, but he still wasn't a main character. And because of the dead children being hidden in the suits, the police never knew that William killed the kids. So he got away. But Henry knew. So he kicked William out of the business. And Henry made a new restaurant. But who knows if it was even a restaurant, because it doesn't have a kitchen. And Henry's new kitchenless restaurant had animatronics. And all of the animatronics were based off of the old animatronics from the carnival in the 70s, where the franchise began. And he even brought back the Balloon Boy and JJ animatronics. And even though it didn't have a kitchen, the restaurant was very high quality. All of the new animatronics were made with a criminal database in them. And if they saw a criminal, then they could keep the children safe from them. There was also an animatronic called the Puppet. And the puppet was made to protect one kid, Henry's daughter, Charlie. And the old establishment was shut down. And the old animatronics were stored in a back room. And Spring Bonnie was stored in a sealed up room. And as always, the business was a success. And kids loved it. But one person didn't like it. William Afton. He was mad that he was kicked out of the company. And he was very mad that Henry had a family. But William didn't. And most importantly, William Afton was very drunk. So he killed another kid. This guy isn't very original. Okay, that's it for the third part of the timeline. The next part will talk about more Afton murders. Fun. So subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you can see that come out next week. Bye 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 bye. Also thanks for 300 subscribers.